Hello VC. So it's been a while since I did a proper, just random music video, and I was watching Dom Seeking a Fred today, his latest video, and also the return of Big Star, French dude based in Melbourne. And I don't know, just like, okay, let's get back on the train. And so one more of these videos where I just pick 6 records and talk a little bit about them. I was cleaning here quite a lot in the past few days, like replacing sleeves and just checking the shelves. I've been kind of like implementing chaos in my organization here. I'm not sorting the records anymore, which I really like, and which is basically what led the records we're listening to today, and what led to these, but with one criteria: only cheapos. All these records are underlooked, and therefore should be around $10 or less. Maybe not the last one, because the last one is a new record. Anyways, here we start with something very difficult to describe. This is Ultra Red latest record. This is like 10 years old now. Ultra Red was a sound art political collective based in LA that started in I believe in the early 90s. Their first record is, I don't remember exactly, but they're kind of internationally grounded, because they've got like people working with them from all over the place, in Japan, Germany, South America, and since this album, which is an LP plus a 7-inch record, there's been nothing from them on the records front. There might be some stuff online, I don't know, I don't follow them that way. So basically the work of Ultra Red means what it means. They are like super left wing, and they're often using field recordings and either transforming it or contextualizing it in a way that brings forth, in a subtle way, not in a pushy way, political ideas, sociological ideas, art ideas, sexual ideas. And I don't know, this was a great record. There's kind of like yeah, here's the 7-inch, comes up with it. Ladies who loop though.
You know who it was? Don Cherry, Ed Blackwell, and Carlos Watt.
So basically, there's kind of like several guidelines on as of how to listen to this, and one is, what does it mean to listen? Listen to this record, the one that you have in your hands. What did you expect to hear? Open your front door and listen in silence to the outside. What do you hear? What did you expect to hear? Later, walk in silence from your house to any disused building. Stand outside the building and listen for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. We know what that means. Walk in silence to the former site of labor and struggle. Stand outside the building and listen for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Walk in silence to a space that you associate with some cultural activity and listen for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Walk in silence to a local space whose main function is shopping and listen for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. What do you hear? Organize what you have heard at these 4 sites into a set of questions and themes. Determine new sites of listening based on this organization. Repeat the above listening exercises. Where do we find the intersection of listening analysis with action? Listen again to this record. What do you hear? Then there's like a protocol for sound walk, in Dundee, Australia, I guess. And then there's examples of results for this questionnaire. I mean, this is a great record. I mean, sonically, I don't need to know all the background to it to enjoy it.
I will now play the sound recording from an investigation team.
I like one of my main interests in music is for it to be a challenge. If I suspect quality or whatever value you oppose to to the record, a challenge is what I expect. It can be an intellectual, aesthetical, sensitive challenge, combination of all of these. Ultra Red definitely is one of these bands that provide this. And whether you find a direct primal appeal in the sounds and the music, it's a good thing, but it's, in my opinion, only a bonus with Ultra Red. I mean, this is their only album on vinyl. There's lots of stuff on CD and digital, and there's quite a few EPs on vinyl, but yeah, this is a great record. And but again, besides the music, it's lots of entry doors or lots of original perspectives on why to listen to music and how. And it's kind of a manual in a way, or an idea for a manual that you will that you could write for yourself or build for yourself. Anyways, this is a record that is good to come back to every now and then, in my opinion. However left field it might sound at first. Next, something that is kind of the opposite. We're going to listen to Wire. This is Wire's last real album, in my opinion, before it became something else. And right after that, they had like a few EPs and compilations, and of course they had a comeback, but it's a little bit different, in my opinion. But right after this, they had one EP, one single, that was actually not a hit, but kind of like, it got airplay on MTV and stuff like that. And there was a remix by Rico Cunning, a London producer who worked with the Swans, Laybach, Erasure, Wire, and others. And the band Wire, they weren't really happy. Colin Newman kind of hated the work he did for them. So it didn't end up on their album, but it ended up on a single, on a single with a few mixes. And this is what we're going to listen to quickly right now. So more on the dance side of it. Rico Cunning actually produced some tracks for Coil, I think for the Anal Staircase. So this is way more like 4 to the floor, almost plastic in a way, but let's be honest, Wire were kind of becoming plastic at the time. This is a long song. I put the end of the song when the singing actually comes in, and I think it's marvelous. It's really such a nice piece of 80s melodic pop with post-punk background and kind of like a mainstream appeal. Wire are probably one of my favorite pop bands, rock bands, and this is kind of the end for them. This is 89, yeah, like the song starts like that. It's very similar, but you see, very percussive. Rico Cunning was one of these early producers that had a DJ sensibility. He was part of the whole Guerrilla label and studio with William Orbit, who went on to produce Madonna. And yeah, so he had a sensibility for what is the dance floor, and not like these these remixes that actually don't work on the dance floor. He understood it, and you can hear it in this, which is probably what didn't appeal to Wire, because they hadn't transitioned to that yet. Yeah, it's super pulsating, great bass line, spares. It's just odd for a dance tune to have so much melody in it. Usually it's more minimalistic, which makes this version a little bit special in my opinion. Acquired taste maybe, but totally for me, and no one cares about this. This is a cheapo. Other than that, lately on Instagram I've been talking about quite a few shoegaze rarities, or like under the radar records, unappreciated ones. And today, just going through the shelves, I noticed I just stumbled upon all the records from an electronic band from the US that started out in techno, and by the mid 2000s, even if it's still electronic music, it's ideal here. But it's a band called Mr. Projectile. Here is some of the early stuff that it was more techno. Newbie Buddy. Here is the first album. Very functional art. And a sampler for the second album on Merc record, which has one great song. You Need, I think it's called. And then he launched, there's a few other bits and odds and ends there and there, but then he launched his own label, Semi-Sexual. And we're gonna listen to a song called Love Here, which is also on the first album, on the second album, but in a different version. I'm gonna keep this under 20 minutes, I hope. There's this traditional like IDM glitchy breakbeat, like mid-tempo with lots of bass in the drums. Yeah, you don't need a bass line. All the bass is in the bass drum. And there's this filtered female singing. Tension. And there it goes. All the melody is like the ethereal melodies, but still with tension. It's beautiful, but it's kind of semi-antagonistic. That he, I think like some years, like maybe 8 years ago or so, he released a few tracks digitally, more on the dubstep side of things rhythmically, which kind of makes sense already when you listen to this. But I guess the interest was not really there and he didn't push it. But it was good. But these EPs, there's like 2 or 3 EPs. It's probably worth nothing. I haven't checked, but like I would be shocked if these commanded any serious money. Mr. Projectile. And as we are in between 2 of these nonsense record store day sessions, I thought I'd play one of the very few record store day releases I own. This is from 2 years ago, from the 2019 session. This is previously unreleased recordings, limited edition to 1,000 copies. No one really cared. It's the Stockholm 1981 recordings of Moondog, the 10-inch. Moondog, the Viking, from the blind Viking from 54th First Street in New York, playing his custom-made instruments, like between jazz, exotica, funk. The music is genius. You've heard it in TV commercials without knowing it was him. And he has 2 sides of his music, instrumental and choir. This is when he moved to Europe, Germany and Sweden. This is the latter part, choir. And this is a recording in Sweden from 81 then, with Swedish musicians and Moondog. And the tape went unreleased because there were some technical issues, and remastering proved to be impossible because some parts were too damaged. What they did is, as the original recording was made with overdubs, they found the original singers and had them redo their parts 36 years later, the parts that were damaged. And it's seamless, you can't hear it. The sound quality is not optimal, but the pressing is good, but you'll hear it. It's a total of 8 tracks, and in my opinion 4 of them are must-have, would have made me buy this anyways. Yeah, there's a little treble sometimes in the recording, yeah. His albums for CBS in the mid-70s are kind of like that, but with more instruments, and they're just the most beautiful music you can imagine. Like an innocence, beauty, but pagan at the same time. It's almost religious, but it's not. And yeah. So Moondog was blind, playing the streets of New York in the 50s. But this is from the recording in 81. I met him once in a festival in France, but I didn't know who he was, and so I didn't care. One of the most epic fails of my musical life.
Sounds alright.
let's hear quickly to another one.
Rolo was too big to ride on horses, and so we had to walk.
Okay, 2 minutes passed.
The big joker, Rolo was too big to ride on horses.
This might be more than $10, but probably less than 20, because no one really paid that much attention to this. And this is one of the few times when records today is good, because yeah, this is the only edition of this on vinyl or anywhere, and it was made possible because of Records Today hyping it a little bit. The hype didn't work that well, obviously. Damon Albarn from Gorillaz and Blur, his label, Honest John, put a compilation like a best-of Moondog in the 2006 or something like that. That was very popular and prompted a renewed interest in Moondog. But since then, I guess, yeah, I don't know how many unreleased recordings of Moondog there are out there, but I'm sure there are, because he lived for music. Louis Thomas Hardin, alias also known as Moondog. He had a few albums in the early 80s, late 70s, mostly instrumental or full vocal him on a German label. They're also underrated, and these are fantastic. Anyways, here's the last record for today. This is a record I listened just to the first track. This is the second track. I heard the first track and I'm buying this. This is an artist I've been following since '98, I believe. I think so. He started in a little before that. Detroit music techno producer Terence Dixon. This is his new album called Reporting from Detroit. He's also known as Population One, but I think he has left that alias on the side for the time being. Most of his records are fantastic, but the past two albums I thought, like, I don't need them. There's nothing on it for me. And nothing that I don't already have, at least as good on other albums. He's also produced many singles and EPs. Probably a little bit too much, but you gotta live also. And but this one, it's triple LP, or it's a double LP plus an EP on Rush Hour, a label from Holland. So pressed on European vinyl, no lead. And this track is called Beautiful Jerusalem. Terence Dixon, okay, this is pure Detroit techno, but it's also pure Terence Dixon. He has a very unique and personal sense of melody and rhythm. It's always kind of idiot savant, tribal, and yeah, the Detroit moodiness, but with something kind of, it's not, contrary to a lot of Detroit techno, this is not romantic in the same way. It's not like escapist. It's more like trying to connect with something that is there and invisible. I don't know. I didn't. Oh yeah, I didn't try to check how it sounds on the 45, but also the artwork. 7, Detroit, 7 City. right up my alley. Probably not for everyone, but if you want to confront yourself with techno, a little bit on the left field side of things, with really cool structures, like a little bit autistic, like very. I mean, of course, techno is about loops and short cycles, like post-minimalism, Terry Riley. Actually, lots of his records are called post-minimalism. Yeah, I think someone could get into this even if one is not into the dance floor and techno. Let's try this at 45. I'm sure some people will play this that way in clubs. But for me, this is psychedelic music. When people talk about psych rock, I get it. But for me, this should provoke the same thing in you. The same, not necessarily emotions, but like same highs. Like this kind of hazy, disconnecting potential when it happens here, but not necessarily in an intellectual way. And then the body takes it in without you even really noticing. That builds this contrast of something very rigid, squarey, with something very sensual. Square funk. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope that Rob Walker will be sad tonight. And other than that, I hope everyone is fine. That you enjoy this short half hour of I don't know, unsuspected music. And I'll probably see you real soon. I've got a contest thread coming up, cooking, and a few people have suggested a few ideas for videos that made so much sense that, of course, I'm too much in the tunnel. Anyways, Terence Dixon, reporting from Detroit, because that's what you do now. Bye, VC.